Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, Ashley's Treasure, and this is going to be a short part 3 of the Tales of the Peter Rabbit book that I made, and there's my little baby girl's hands. She's always likes to be involved. But what was I going to say? That just made me forget what I was going to say. You're so distracting. Oh, this is going to be short. It's just going to be, because I wanted to slide, I was going to make like a trifold card to stick underneath where that pocket is. And after I ended up kind of going overboard and adding more to it, making it more than just a trifold card, it ended up being like kind of like a little booklet. And so it ended up being too thick to fit in there. But I'm going to show you the process of how I made it. But there's a part at the end where I was starting to make little tag to put in there, and that's when my phone cut off. But you will see the whole process of how I made it. And here I end up using this scrapbook paper to use as the card. And I was debating on which side to do it on because of the design of the paper. I wanted it to look just right. So I was trying to figure out which part will be better in the front of it and which part would be in the back. I made it twice as long as how long it'll be because I'm going to fold it in half to make it into the card or the trifold. You might hear some little noises because I am in the middle of feeding my little baby girl right now. You might hear her sucking on the bottle. But that is where the hinge to the die cut that I have is going to be. And I'm snipping off the extra parts that the die cut did not cut so that it would all be lined up correctly. And to adhere it, I am going to use my glue stick. I just kept pressing it, making sure it was all lined up and stuck really well. And this is when I try sliding it in that pocket to see how it'll fit, and realized it was a little snug and it started to tear the sides that were glued down. And so I'm like, yep, that's not going to work. So I still really liked it and I wanted to use it. So I ended up adding pages to it. But the die cut, the white paper that I used, the cardstock paper I used to do the die cut, is a different white than the back of the scrapbook paper, and that was driving me nuts. So I needed something to cover it, and I had this fabric ribbon that I got from a thrift store, and I love it, and I thought it looked really good because of it has like these pink flowers and the green leaves, and it's like this off-white cream color, and I really like it. So that is what I'm going to use, and it's going to make a little pocket inside of it. And to adhere that, I am going to use the Fabri-Tac glue because that one works really good with fabric. So I'm just adding some to the back and then a little bit on the top and bottom. Alright, and then I had to cut the extra fabric off the edges. And there was a little bit of when I did the scrapbook paper, it was a little off, so I had to even that out as well. And then the tiny pieces I threw away, but the bigger, smaller pieces I saved. I always use those for doing little collages. And then I was trying to figure out, because I wanted to make a tag to put inside that pocket, and I was trying to figure out which picture in the book I wanted to use in there. And I'm pretty sure the one I got, this one, I'm pretty sure I made a tag. Yeah, I made a tag out of this one right here. Because it had, the jacket was pink, which went with the pink flower. And also there's, it's kind of tiny, but there is, the vines of a plant, you know, you can see that green and then the little flower hanging off from it, which matched the fabric ribbon that I used. So I thought that was perfect because of the colors. And it was the page that was on the cover that I was able to peel off is where that picture came from. So I definitely wanted to use this green paper because it matched the stem and the leaves of the flower. And here I started at 0 and I did 2 inches apart from the top and bottom where I'm going to adhere the holes. I did a 3-hole signature, and so that was my little like template I'm going to use. So I lined it up just right, and I started poking the holes, and I'm kind of loosening them to make sure that it was big enough so I had no problem fitting my needle and thread through it. And then I put a couple of paper clips in to make sure the pages wouldn't fall out, and used my little I found some thread, and it was already cut off and it was like the perfect length. I use it 3 times the you know how tall your pages are. I use this needle is for embroidery. It has a dull end, which is really handy to use for doing signatures. And I start from the inside out at the center of the signature, and then I will go from the bottom or the back in from the bottom hole, and then skip all the way to the top from the inside out, and then from the outside in the middle, center hole. And then make sure that the 2 ends are on 2 separate sides, that the thread in the center is in the middle so that you can tie it together. And then I was just adjusting it and making sure it was tight enough, but not too tight so it won't tear the pages. And then just did 2 knots to keep it in place. Now that I sewn the signature, it is safe to remove the paper clips and the page will not fall out anymore now that they're sewn in. And here I will use my tool to press all the pages and make sure, try to get them as flat as I can, because I end up kept adding more stuff in here than I probably should have, which did make my journal a little bulky, but again, I was just having fun. There's no specific reason why I was doing this. I was having fun. And I had to trim a little bit off at the end because it was hitting where the die cut is when I shut it. So I just cut like a tiny sliver off, probably like 1/18 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch, so it would stop rubbing. And see, now it folds up just right. And here I'm just kind of going through the pages, making sure they're all good after sewing them in. I really like it. It was just some scrap pieces that I had. And then here I'm just kind of looking through the, the little pictures that I tore out of the original book, trying to figure out which one I'm going to put in there. I thought I was going to use that one, but I end up not. I end up using a different one. There's a little birdie that I fussy cut out, which I'm pretty sure I glued in there. I think I put it right there. I like that because it's like flying into the page. There was this tiny bird that I fussy cut out, which I really wanted to put like on a corner of a page, and I thought, you know, on the line pages that had the lines on it, I thought I could put on the bottom to look like it's like standing on there. Well, I think I never end up doing that. I might have to go back and find it and adhere it because it looks like it's like standing on the line. It makes me think of the bird that I like put on the back, like it's flying into the book and then it's like joining you while journaling on one of the pages. I was thinking about adding that little bumblebee too, but I don't think I did. And so got an old index card that was already aged. I'm going to use that as my card, and I had to trim it down a little bit because it was a little bit too big for the pocket. It was too high. So I snipped it a little bit off, probably like 1/4 of an inch off. And I was really trying to use that picture and it just ended up not working. I ended up using a smaller picture instead. This is the picture that I end up using. This was the from off of the inner part of the cover that I was able to tear off. And I liked because the lines on the index page is blue and pink, which actually went with, you know, the colors that were going on in the pictures in the scrapbook paper that I used. And again, I'm going to use this green scrapbook paper to kind of like border that picture. And again, I used my glue stick, my permanent glue stick, to adhere it onto the green scrapbook paper, and then I will kind of like tear it to give that torn look. And I like how it gives some of that white on it too. So it gives like double the, you know, layer around it, distressed look to it too. And when I was tearing it, I was making sure that, you know, I kind of like tore it up so that way it would leave the white mark onto the part that I wanted. I just kept, you know, kind of tearing pieces off, making a fine border all the way around it. I thought about using some of this page from a book because of how aged it was, and I don't think I actually end up using it, but I did like the look of it. You know, you can't read any of it anyways. Granted, I couldn't either because it's like in a foreign language, but I do like that look it gives. And I was just kind of giving that tear look to give another layer. But I think I ended up not using it because of how dark it was compared to the rest of the, you know, the original trifold that I made. But I am going to be using some more of that scrapbook paper. I thought it went well making a tag out of it since I used that to make the trifold with, so it all matches. And that pink went with it because also the picture, the flower match is like the same pink as the scrapbook paper, So that goes together, and then, you know, that green scrapbook paper matches the leaves and the stem on that as well. So it all goes together, and same as the fabric ribbon, it all matches. It had that same type of flower, that pink flower and the greens. Here I'll be using my glue stick again to adhere it really good onto the index card, or index card onto the scrapbook paper. And that index card, I did not have to dye it. It just naturally aged that way, and you can kind of see the color difference between the white on the back of the scrapbook paper, how white it is compared to how naturally aged the index card is. I love it. And again, I'm just using my tool and kind of like varnishing it to make sure it's stuck really well. And then I'm going to cut off the excess, which I probably should have used my trimmer because I am terrible at cutting straight. I think I was going to use that book page, and I think I forgot it, or did I just not like it? I can't remember. I think it was because of how dark it was. But I wanted to add more to it. I was thinking about using one of the plants that I die cut. I showed all the ones that I die cut in the first, well, actually, the second video I did of this book. Because the first one I showed the whole how I made the journal, and then the second one is when I started to decorate it, and this is the third one of decorating it. This one will just be, of course, of this trifold. I wanted to add color to this flower, and so I got these markers out, and I was looking for, I got a couple greens and a couple pinks out to see which one I liked the most. Sorry, I hit the camera a little, so it's wobbling. This was one of the pages that got some kid drew on that was from the original book, so I was using that to test the greens to figure out which one matched the best with the green on the picture, and the one in the middle is the one I'm going to use. And then I got a couple pinks, and they looked pretty much the same. One was a tad bit lighter, so I ended up using the darker one, which is the one on the left. And then I started coloring in. I did the flowers first with the light pink. Started from the top and worked my way down. And now I'll start adding, coloring the green, all the stems of the flower. And then I used an even lighter color. I want a different color for the leaves that were on the die cut on the flower. and I still wasn't sure about it. I couldn't get it lined up at the right spot, and I realized that one of the parts of the flowers on there is just in the way. It like goes on top of the bunny, so I will end up cutting that off eventually. And here I was trying to decide because I really wanted to use the flower. I just didn't know where at the time because at first I couldn't get it to work. So I was seeing if I would go on a page, but I'm like, no, I really want it on this card. So I fiddled with it some more, and that's when I started realizing that I needed to cut that part off. So I got my fussy cutting scissors off and just snipped it off. And that was better because now it wasn't, wasn't covering up the bunny. And I realized I missed a couple spots on the flower, so I went back over and colored in all the little white spots. And I got everything out of the way because I'm going to start, I wanted to use my clear embossing powder on top of the flower. So it'll give that kind of shiny look and it really makes the color pop out. So I used my embossing ink and dabbed it all over and then sprinkled my super fine Tim Holtz Rangers embossing powder, the clear kind. It gives it that nice shine, and it also helped to dry the marker faster. I use it all the time. I've had that little bottle for so long, and I use it so much, and I still have so much in it. And then I heat up my heating tool first, and then emboss the flower, which only takes a few seconds. I love watching that happen. It's so fun doing that. And then I use, those Swifters. Well, they always come with those, and I always use it to swipe off the extra embossing powder. Because there's always, no matter how careful I am, there's always extra embossing powder all over my table, and it drives me nuts. So I use those, and they work great. They really capture all the little pieces. And then I used a part of my favorite doily. I've used quite a bit of it. I almost have it all gone. I only got like a couple of pieces left. So I kind of liked using the same thing. So kind of like a lot of the, die cut, or not die cuts, but the tags and stuff that I use kind of all go together. Having the same type of doily in it and, same colors going on, same pictures, or type of pictures from the book, so everything kind of flows together throughout the journal. And then I was thinking about doing it the right because that's when I realized that there was some ink drawing on the top right corner, so I needed something to cover it, but I really liked, and I already had it shaped for that flower to be on the left side, so I'm going to use something else here. It's going to start cutting off because I didn't realize that my phone died on me, but you will see the end result when I'm done with the journal. I'll do a flip through, and so that's how I made the trifold. So stay tuned and I will show you more process that I made during the book, and when it's done I will show a final flip through. Talk to you later. Bye.